If you're a full-time music producer, mixing engineer, or mastering engineer, there is a wealth of options for studio desks, ranging from the thousands of dollars all the way up to the cost of a small house.
If you're clicking on this thumbnail, you're probably more like me. I'm not a recording engineer. I'm not a mixing engineer. I mean, there's some days it's even a stretch just to call me a guitarist. No, nobody wants to be that guy. Anyway, here's Wonderwall. So when it came time to build the new Killer Guitar Rigs AV studio, we needed something that was a bit more diverse, since we're not just making music on it.
See, specifically made studio desks are really good when your focus is on music. But if you're trying to do other things like studying or video production or eating ridiculous amounts of Taco Bell, they often don't have quite the right setup, leaving you kind of cramped and stuck for a place to put the other 5 potato tacos you're planning on coming back to later.
What's the deal with all the Taco Bell jokes? It's kind of weird. So in this video, we're going to walk you through our process in hopes of help you figure out the right option for you. So we'll cover understanding your needs, setting a realistic budget, and remember that's not just about the desk, and then we're going to explore the most common desk options out there. Stick around for the end because we're going to show you the desk we ended up choosing, which gave us space for rack gear, studio monitors, amp heads, guitar books, instruction manuals, and most importantly, somewhere for me to empty out my pockets every time I walk into a room.
Before you start looking at desks, it's important to first know what exactly you need out of your hybrid desk setup. There's no point in looking for rack space if you don't have any rack gear and don't plan on buying any. And there's no point in looking at desktop rack units if you need a ton of space for studying with textbooks. Make a list of your needs for both your audio work and your non-audio use of the desk, as well as what you might like to do with it once you have the ideal setup. Maybe you want to invest in more rack gear once you have the chance, or maybe you want more desktop space to put a bunch of amps. Plan ahead and plan well.
Next, you'll want to think about your budget, but not just for the desk. If a new desk means you'll be buying extra rack gear or amps or keyboards or anything else, factor for that too. You don't want to blow your budget on a desk before realizing that you now can't afford the expansion that you got the bigger desk for. Now there's a lot of different options for combining a regular desk and some studio add-ons, so let's first talk through 3 of the most popular ones. And here we're assuming that your main desk will be one of those typical large flat IKEA desks that everyone owns at some point. If you have a very small amount of rack gear and you don't need a lot of desktop space, a desk rack can be a great option. So desk racks are like small shelving units that sit on top of your desk, typically under your monitor, and give you a few units of rack space to have your gear to hand. These can be especially useful for those with smaller rooms where having more furniture isn't practical. Now the big drawback of a desk rack is that it eats up a lot of space on top of your desk, really only leaving you with enough space for your mouse and your keyboard. On top of that, you're quite limited when it comes to expanding the amount of rack gear you have. Once your spaces are full, there's really nowhere to go unless you want to keep stacking them up and up and up until you have to crane your neck to see your monitor.
Another option is a sidecar rack, which is a piece of furniture that sits alongside your main desk and provides extra rack space, typically at a level below the surface of your main desk. Some sidecars also allow you to have things like slide-out trays for keyboards, headphones, or other essential gear. Sidecars range in price from somewhere around $400 and up and can be a great way to keep that extra rack gear or a rack interface, or a unit like a Kemper on hand without cluttering up the main desk. However, they're typically too heavy to move around, so it'll most likely be a permanent fixture in your room. You will likely also struggle to get one that matches both the height and aesthetic of your existing desk.
A third option is the rolling rack stand, which is essentially a lightweight sidecar that sits alongside your desk but comes on wheels, which makes it much easier to move your rack gear around if you want to. Now this can be quite helpful in a small room setting where you might want to hide away your rack gear during the week and then bring it back out at the weekend. However, as with the sidecar, it can be hard to match these with your existing desk, especially since most rolling rack stands are just basically metal racks, kind of like a guitar stand. They make them that way so that they're light enough to move around, but the payoff is that they don't look great. So that brings us to the desk we chose for the Killer Guitar Rig Studio. Now, when we were researching our options for the best desk to allow us lots of tabletop for office work and video editing, music production, what have you, plus rack gear and cable management, we consider all of our options. And after seeing one specific unit on both Ryan Bruce and Red Schultz channels, we decided to go with a desk that combines all of the above while allowing us to mix and match, specifically a modular system, the Gator Frameworks Elite Series Complete Desk Package.
This system comes with a main desk with a very large desktop area, good for laying out books, magazines, taking notes, arranging pedals, and anything else we need to do. And a 10-unit sidecar with a rolling shelf for storing headphones and other occasional use items, and a corner unit to attach both together, giving us even more desktop space to keep several amp heads, our UA aux box, and a handful of pedals as we test them out in our chain.
Plus there's the bonus of being a modular system. So the desk comes with a pull-out digital piano tray big enough to accommodate like a 49-note keyboard. And it comes with a desk rack setup, which you can set up as either 2 4-unit spaces or 1 4-unit space, and then you can use the remaining space for storage or whatever. We didn't really want to use the desk rack setup because we wanted more open space on top of the desk. And then we didn't want to use the piano tray because James Hetfield never played no stinking piano. So the beauty of a modular desk system was that we just skipped out on installing them. This saved us a ton of time in the setup, and it meant we got exactly the desk we wanted with all the parts at the same height in the same finish. But that's just us. If you're the next Chris Martin and you want to have your keyboard to hand at all times so that in between Zoom meetings you can write the worst music possible, you do you.
Also, full disclosure, when we decided on the desk we wanted, we hit up our friends at Sweetwater, who were kind enough to send us the desk to help us with the studio. But as always with Sweetwater, it didn't come with any conditions as far as saying positive things about the desk, and they haven't seen either this video or the script before it went live. They're actually pretty chill about that kind of thing. But that doesn't mean anything if the desk doesn't meet our needs, so let's dive into our review of this desk.
What? Did you not listen to all the... Okay. Yeah, I mean, I really like it. It's got like a huge, like flat top surface. It looks really nice. It's very smooth. It's not like, rigid or whatever. It's really deep, which is really important to me because I like to have a lot of space on top of a desk, right? It was really easy to put together. I'm terrible at putting together furniture, and I did it on my own in like an hour or two, which was like fantastic. It's also like at a really good height. So a lot of desks you kind of find like your legs are maybe cramped or you can't put your chair where you want to, but this is actually super far off the ground, probably because I'm not using the keyboard tray. But I think even with the keyboard tray, and it's like over in the corner there, it would still be comfortable to sit in under. The rack area is great because like right now I've just got the interface in there because I took my Kemper back over home, but like being able to sit here with the Kemper right there plugged into everything, super, super, super handy. And yeah, just generally like it's a lot of desk. Like it's exactly what I wanted from a desk, which is to have a lot of space because I'm a messy person and I need multiple places to make messes. So yeah, I like the desk. You can check out this desk and pretty much every other piece of musical equipment you can think of at sweetwater.com. You got a link in the description. And if you've never ordered from Sweetwater, check out this video up here to understand why Sweetwater is the only place I buy music gear online.